Let's come back home, get you some stories we're following for you tonight. The Ghana Revenue Authority has now fixed a flat figure for the exchange rate to be used for transactions at the ports for the next 3 months. The dollar will now be exchanged for 5 cedis, 8 pesos, only for purposes of trading at the various ports within the country. Now, the GRA also says a recent directive by the Vice President for a 50% reduction in benchmark values for general goods imported does not affect vehicle spare parts imported. Ebenezer Sabote was with the GRA team, which toured some major markets in Accra. He joins me in the studio with more from the tour. So, what exactly transpired today, Ben?
All right, so I think it has been a very long day for the commissioner of the GRA and the other commissioners. Today, our first point was the Abosokai market. We went to interact with some of the spare part dealers, and the issue came up about the benchmark value of 50% that the vice president announced last week. So the situation was that, the GRA released some lists onto the market, some 71 goods and lists, and they were trying to clarify it from the commissioner. So they were saying that the spare part dealers were saying that they've not found their names in the list. That's the goods that they import. They don't find those goods in the list. And the GRA commissioner clarified that that is not the final list that the commission is coming out with, but it was just a leaked one, so they should ignore it. But the list that they have has the GRA, just that the GRA is not applying the 50% benchmark value on spare part dealers.
Okay, so let's get this. The announcement made by the Vice President of a 50% reduction does not apply to spare parts.
It applies to spare parts.
Vehicle spare parts imported into the country. Is that what it is?
Yes, it is. But that is not the only benchmark value that is applying to the spare part. I'm saying that because according to the spare part dealers in the GRA, they had earlier agreements that some benchmark values that were calculated are going to be reduced. So if that reduction comes in, this 50% will be less. So it means they are going to have more than 50% benchmark value reduction. Do you get it? So this 50% is coming in, yes, but the previous ones that they had is also coming in, and this 50% will be eroded. So it's not going to be only 50% benchmark value reduction, but they are going to have more than 50% benchmark value reduction.
Does that mean that going forward they may be paying less, cheaper for stuff that they import?
Exactly so.
Okay.
And then also, so there was another issue about the foreign exchange rate at the port. We all know that for some time now, there has been some instability between the CD and the dollar issues here. So they disclosed that the Commissioner of Customs disclosed that the Vice President's office has directed that henceforth there should be, the amount should be pegged, a dollar should be pegged at 5 cedis, 0.8 pesos for
the next 3 months. So,
3 months. Yes. So
what's been the reaction from the traders to
So I interacted with the co-chair of the Abosokai spare part dealers, Clement Boatin, and he's been explaining that yes, if really it happens, we customers will also enjoy some, kind of reduction. So let's hear him.
Okay, because since last week, we've seen that the dollar has been pegged at 5.08, and that is what they have been, using as far as calculation of duties, are concerned. They're supposed to review it every Tuesday, and as at yesterday, they still haven't reviewed it. They are still using the 5.08. So we are comfortable with that arrangement also.
But what would be the impact of all these reductions and these arrangements on your businesses and all that?
Yeah, the impact of all this, will be a big relief, to us, because you are aware that for some time now traders have been complaining over high import duties, and it is not traders alone which are affected. Even government itself are affected by way of revenue, generation, because all these inland, countries like Mali, like Niger, like Togo, like Burkina Faso, who used to clear their goods through Temapos, were no longer, coming. They were rerouting their goods through either Lomé Port or Abidjan Port, and it was a loss of revenue to the government. When government itself, started the committee, to go out on that familiarization, tour to find out how much duties are being paid at within the sub-region, they saw that duties that we are paying here was on the high side, and so government was losing revenue, and we, the business people were also losing business as a result of, high prices that we are also supposed to, sell our goods, because no businessman is a Father Christmas, and when you go there paying high import duties, you definitely pass it on to the consumer. So the effect that we will enjoy will be a reduction of prices, and I'm assuring the public that from this week going into next week, if we monitor and we see that really, with regards to goods, import duties has come down, we are going to embark on a serious education with our members to also try as much as possible, to reduce their goods for the benefit of we the Ghanaians.
All right, so that was Clement Boateng. Ben,
yes,
he is a co-chair
for the Aboso.
All right, and so just a bit of clarification. So we are saying that in the next 3 months, the exchange rate for the cedi to the dollar will be 5 cedis 08 pesos.
Only for purposes of export trading.
All right, thanks very much, Eben, for that update. Now, the IMF is asking government to come up with policy measures that would help improve revenue from non-oil sectors. This follows the latest IMF World Economic Outlook report, which projected a slowdown in global economic growth. Now, speaking to Joy Business in Washington, D.C., Division Chief at the Research Department of the Fund, Oya Carlson, said this would ensure Ghana is protected against any slump in commodity prices.
Quite dramatically in 2014. There has been some recovery since then, but still they are weak. So the overriding goal in many of these oil producers is to adjust fiscal policy to lower oil prices. That process has started, but it's not complete yet. And again, the priorities vary a lot from country to country, but a cross-cutting, overriding, very common need is still to raise the part of revenue that doesn't come from oil, so mobilizing more revenues.
Let's look at those who are heavy in commodity exports, not just oil, but cocoa and gold as well. What would you recommend a policy, a monetary policy reaction as well as a fiscal reaction to this, madam?
Again, in terms of trade, is a driving factor. It could be oil, it could be other commodities, but to the extent that the budget balance is reliant on commodity revenues, and to the extent that that country's particular commodity export revenues have fallen, there is a need to adjust fiscal policy. For monetary policy, again, the goal is to keep inflation in check. Sometimes that's tied to fiscal policy, sometimes it's not, depending on whether the fiscal balance is being financed by the central bank, but it's hard to generalize for monetary policy.
In other news, the Director General of the National Lottery Authority, Kofi Osameyaw, says the authority will introduce some new regulations to sanitize the lottery industry. With the introduction of solar-powered kiosks, the NLA is hopeful of increasing revenues in the coming years. Charles Aite has been taking a look at how these kiosks operate and comes through with this report.
Take a closer look at where I'm lottery shop in the next coming weeks. Not those raggedy shops that we've often visited to stake our lotteries, but this will be the new game changer for the lottery business in the country.
Being the first of its kind, the e-kiosks are equipped with facilities such as solar panels, VSAT internet connectivity, money safes, fans, and a point-of-sale terminals, among others. But what does this mean for the lottery industry? I got in touch with the Director General of the NLA, Kofi Osameyaw, who broke it all down for us.
Your money on your wallet, you just have to go to the kiosk and then swipe it, and you are gone. Your electricity, everything. So we are taking the whole infrastructure to the doorstep of the people. So why should people go to the bank, spend money to go and do the transaction? It should be near them. And this is what is informing us. And with the digital system, which the Vice President has been instrumental in pushing, this finishes the loop. This is the implementation. Without this, it is going to be very difficult for it to run.
After our interaction, we took a tour of some of the e-kiosk stations at the NLA.
It is the mobile. The wallet is connected to a platform, and then it is integrated to the banks, into the mobile money, where MTN, Vodafone, everything is integrated.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. But you know, we've had issues regarding armed robbery cases, you know, attacks on most of these vendors. How are you going to be?
YEA, the youth that are unemployed, community policing, we are going to train them to be also policing this kiosk in their various communities. So again, we are going to give them 24-hour security in the community, using community policing and using some of them to add. And their pay is also coming from the commissions that we make here.
With these solar-powered kiosks, the NLA is confident of doubling, if not tripling, its revenue from 500 million cedis to about 2 billion cedis. Meanwhile, some lotto retailers I spoke to say these kiosks mean nothing to them if the NLA fail to increase their commission, which stands at 20%.
Because the commissions that we are earning now is insufficient to be able to acquire those CD kiosks. Because the amount, over 20,000 Ghana cedis. How much commission am I earning to purchase a kiosk?
We want to pay our commission about 30%. We want to pay our commission about 25%.
First, we were enjoying 25% of our commission. Then later on, all of a sudden, they reduced it up to 20%. In fact, we weren't happy about it.
I put these concerns to the Director General of the NLA, who assures that these solar-powered kiosks will increase commissions of retailers from the current 20% to at least 35%.
Currently, theirs is 20%. Of yours, they want more. And that is what has also informed us to open up, to bring in value-added services, banking services, mobile money transactions, so DSTV, so the 5%, 6%, 8% commission that we get on all this also goes to them. So the commission now is going to blow to about 30 to perhaps 35%.
Meanwhile, the Association of Lotto Marketing Companies has urged the NLA to clear all illegal operators, popularly called banker-to-banker, once this module takes off. Here is General Secretary of the Association, Kofi Frimpong.
There are people who call themselves operators. They have not been licensed by NLA. They have not been licensed by any relevant agency in terms of tax agency. So they have no tax identity, tax liability. All that they do is that when the money comes, they just pocket the money and then, amass wealth at the expense of the people.
Beyond the solar component inherent in the project, the kiosks are expected to deepen financial inclusion in the country as banks and mobile money operators sign on to the program. So far, questions remain whether this is really going to be the game changer for Ghana's digitization drive, as it hopes to fill in all the value chain when it comes to digitization in the financial sector. I'm Charles Aite for Joy Business.
All right, Charles Aite bringing us that report. Apologies for the low sound quality there. Now, imagine this, an online platform where you can shop for everything African fashion. That's what Henry Kobler and his team at Ahonepa have been able to build, currently showcasing products of about 600 vendors. They aim to become the largest marketplace for African fashion products, and they're well on their way to achieving that. Ahonepa.com is our feature on the Joy Business Van today. The fashion industry is worth trillions of dollars globally. Many African entrepreneurs are pursuing opportunities in that industry. Problem is how to market their products or where to market them. There appears to be a solution. At the Code Hub in Accra, Henry Kobler and his team are thinking around how to further expand Ahonepa.com the e-commerce platform created by the computer engineer and his partner, Araba Yelbet, a fashion enthusiast, to provide online marketing services for local designers.
JoyNews basically was started by my co-founder, Araba, where she was more intrigued by the designs African has. And so she decided to start selling most of these products. But from the computer background, I thought that it was better off to create a platform that brings most of the vendors together to sell most of these products, because it was so difficult always trying to find different creative people from different locations selling their product for her to sell to most of the people that would be interested in.
JoyNews features some of the best fashion brands in the country, such as Agile and Alfie Designs, carefully selected, and the emphasis is on quality.
JoyNews in our local parlance means a product that is well woven. So Arenia means woven, and then the pa means quality or good. So the main together comes into be Arenia pa, a product that is well woven. So that's where we came out with that. We were looking at a word that essentially cumulated what we really wanted to push out there.
All you have to do is serve for your product of choice and make your payments online. JoyNews then gets commissions on the products sold, and that's how the e-commerce platform makes money. And it appears to be working for a country where e-commerce is gradually becoming popular. Although the numbers are way below the global average of about 30%, young Africans with access to internet are embracing online shopping more.
So behind JoyNews are some amazing people that make it work. Even though it's an online platform, we basically have a lot of people that make sure that the day-to-day activities is on point. And I'm going to walk you through to see them. So essentially what happens here is that it's more of a customer service based and development based hub, which whenever we want to add new features to our online platforms, like build our mobile applications, put in advancements to our mobile applications, we do it here. Also, if we have orders, there are customer service representatives that basically are going to call the vendors, make sure that the products are available, call the customers, give them the right information, and take the right information also from them.
What's perhaps more impressive about JoyNews is that it's expanded to 5 countries in just 4 years, including Nigeria, South Africa, Rwanda, and Kenya, where they have started production too.
In the criteria, you have to have very quality product. It has to be innovative. It has to be competitive on the platform. And we look out for people that seek to project the image of Africans. So it's not just putting any product on, but we're looking out for very innovative products that are within the quality range.
Henry explains what has contributed to his e-commerce platform's success, from just a classified site to a multi-vendor shop.
We've had some amazing successes where we're running close to over 600 different designers, very active accounts, buying and selling. We basically had to join in the Alibaba program, which was organized by Alibaba and UNCTAD, essentially going through China, understanding how the e-commerce in Ali works, big data, augmented reality, digital payments. So essentially bringing that span where they've been able to make it and into our local setting is one of the most amazing things which we've experienced.
One of the challenges for Henry and his team is obtaining quality products from local vendors, and they are tackling that by training some of the vendors.
So we're looking at scaling to a lot more African countries. We've been able to do the East and South. We're looking at doing the North, and still within the West African countries, we think that there are still more stories to tell. We just don't want to sell product, we want to sell a story to the international brands. We want to compete alongside most of the international brands. We're looking at being able to raise the channels for most of the brands that will be selling on our platforms to have better standards, to sit on the shelves of Walmart and other very big brands out there.
And the story just began for JoyNews. You're still watching Business Live. We want to take a quick trip to the U.S., Washington, D.C. We've been reporting about the IMF World Bank spring meetings. My colleague George Rafi joins me from there. George, we understand the fund has just released its fiscal report. What's it saying about the country's projected debt stock? Unfortunately, it doesn't appear that technology is favoring us tonight, but we'll have more from there subsequently for you. A quick update on inflation rate for the month of March, up by 0.1 percentage point, is now at 9.3% from 9.2% in February. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. We've got the day's latest stories there. You can go there and have a read. My name is Darryl Kwao. Thanks for watching. We are back same time tomorrow. Stay tuned.